The trial of Sean Diddy Combs is coming to an end. Closing arguments just got underway this morning after a shocking move. Prosecutors in New York dropped several charges against Combs: attempted kidnapping, arson, and aiding and abetting sex trafficking. Prosecutors claim they dropped these charges to streamline jury instructions. But it begs the question from a lot of people: did they fail to prove Diddy's guilt on those counts? Joining us now is Kelly Hyman, trial attorney and host of Unresolved, the Diddy Files podcast. Kelly, we appreciate you joining us today. Closing arguments underway right now. Let's start with this major development. The prosecutors dropping major charges at the end of a 6-week trial. Is that common? And what does it tell you about their case?
It is common to streamline the process and to streamline the jury instructions for the jury. So when we have to look at this case, we have to look exactly what is he being charged with. He is being charged with sex trafficking. He's been charged with transportation across state lines to engage in prostitution. And he's been charged with racketeering. The claims that the prosecution has dropped go to the heart of the racketeering charge. Now, racketeering is basically saying that there was some type of criminal enterprise. In order to help prove that, the prosecution must prove that there are certain acts, two potential predicate acts that occurred, such as arson, such as kidnapping. So the prosecution still have other predicate acts that they can go forward with, but they just got rid of the attempted ones.
Okay, so great point there. Let me ask you this. Did the jury know that? And if they do know that, how might this impact how the jury views the overall case? With some doubt there going, now, wait a second, in the back room, right, talking and discussing it, saying, if they got rid of these, maybe they're not sure about everything else.
Well, the jury see the jury instructions. So when they had the conference, the jury wasn't there during the discussions of how the jury instructions were going to lay out. So what the jury goes back is, after closing arguments, they have jury instructions that lay out the different questions that the jury needs to answer. So they'll ask them about the racketeering charge. And so the juries can answer whether there was two predicate acts and to find him guilty of the racketeering charge. They will also be asked about the sex trafficking charge and then also the transportation across state lines. It's important to note, with each one of these counts, the jury has to unanimously, that means all of them have to agree to the different counts of whether it's the racketeering, the 2 counts of sex trafficking, the 2 counts to engage in prostitution across state lines. Otherwise, then if they don't agree to all the counts on each individual one, then Diddy could come back and be found guilty on some of the counts, but not guilty on the other counts as well. We'll have to wait and see what the jury does.
Okay, so what you've seen the last 6 weeks, how strong do these remaining charges appear based on what you've seen in court and what you've heard?
So when you look at the different counts, the strongest count for the prosecution is to transportation across state lines to engage in prostitution. And that's basically someone is paid to cross state lines and to engage in prostitution. From the prosecution standpoint, that would be the strongest charge that they brought. However, out of all the different charges, the least in regards to the penalty. Then we go to the sex trafficking, and the prosecution has to prove that there was force, fraud, or coercion. And those go to Cassie Ventura, the former girlfriend of Diddy, and then also Jane, who was also a girlfriend of Diddy. And then the other count is the racketeering one, and that is the hardest potentially to prove and most confusing, that there was a criminal enterprise, and that based on the criminal enterprise, that there was acts done to further that criminal enterprise.
All right, Kelly Hyman, thank you very much for the insight and the setup for what we're going to see the next 2 days with closing arguments. Thank you.